I'm Maddie.
I'm Evie, and we're experts by experience, meaning we have accessed mental health services either currently or in the past, and we are now in recovery. We hope to inspire and help as many people as possible. Today, we're going to have a chat about everything surrounding discharge. It is essential that if you're listening to this and feel vulnerable at any point, you speak to those around you and make the most of the support you have.
Now let's get into it.
Although discharge might seem scary, ultimately it is the best thing that can happen, because one thing that I felt was I didn't want to be living the rest of my life stuck inside of an inpatient hospital, and I think that's what really kind of powered me to want to get better and want to be discharged.
When you're in hospital, you just hate it. After some time, you just really, really start to dislike it. It's not your home environment. You just want to leave. And it's one of the things that pushes you to want to get better and recover. But sometimes you might get too used to hospital. Might not want to be discharged. You might not want to leave because that's your kind of home environment now. So also it might be difficult in terms of like actually leaving because you're not around the same people. You're not around the same environment anymore.
Especially adding on to that with the attachments that you form when you're in such a low time in your life. It's easy to create unhealthy attachments, not in the fact of the person isn't good for you, but the fact where you're kind of relying on them, and you form this unhealthy bond where you don't want to leave them, and that's kind of stopping you from being discharged and stopping you from wanting to get better.
100%. And also because you literally start feeling like you can't do anything on your own. You just start relying completely on them. Like you can't feel happy or feel like you're able to do things in your day without the person, and that just gets really, really unhealthy for you. Because then obviously in the day, your own recovery is your own journey. You're going to have to meet so many people and then leave all of these people, and you just have to try and face it and get along with it, the whole process. But it might be hard, especially when you're staying in an inpatient. You're getting to know people who are seeing you pretty much every single day, and then one day you're not going to see them anymore.
When you are discharged, it is hard to decipher what friendships you made in there are healthy for you and what ones aren't healthy, because where the environment that you created the friendship is, it's not a healthy environment to be in, and sometimes they're not healthy friendships and they can do more harm than good.
One thing that I would say for people being discharged that are, quite close and connected with like certain staff members, I would say you should just see it like they obviously want the best for you and you want the best for them. And in the day, even though you won't have any more contact or won't be able to see each other anymore, in your head that you're both doing well and you want to still continue to strive and do well. Like for them to know that you're doing your best even without them. Like that's the thing. Once you get discharged, you kind of have to bloom without the extra support.
And one thing that I'll circle back to is about the idea of friendships and making friendships in there. So, for example, me and Maddie met whilst we were in inpatients. We obviously bonded quite a lot over what was going on, and we talked a lot about our struggles and helped each other a lot. There was some people I met in there that weren't very healthy for me, and I only realised that when I was discharged. But since being out, me and Maddie have reconnected. Like, we speak all the time. We meet each other when we can because we are quite far away from each other. But we find ways to create like barriers, and we know our boundaries, like what to talk about and how far we can go about talking about certain subjects. And overall, we just know when to be there for each other. And because we've gone from seeing each other at such a low point, I think that really has sparked like a true friendship, other than not saying other friendships aren't true. Like you have to go to hospital to create an amazing friendship. But I feel like whilst you're in there, there's a lot of speak about how when you leave, you shouldn't make friends. Like it's really unhealthy. But for me and Maddie, it wasn't like that. And I just want to emphasize how it's not always like that. And you can form really healthy bonds.
I was going to say, not to be on the negative side of things, as much as there is the healthy side of the friendships, obviously there can be the friendships are unhealthy for you, that where when you're in the hospital, you might form friendships or like companions or people that you're normally around who may make you feel worse about yourself or may make you feel low about yourself, or it's not right for you. And you'll only realize that the reason why we're saying you'll only realize that when you leave is because your judgment is kind of clouded when you're staying with these people and when you're living with them is kind of different. So just see it as like the people that you will continue to keep in contact with are the healthy friendships, the people who care about you and the people that you think you're going to want to end up meeting up with and things like that. And because at the end of the day, like, you know that you've seen each other at your lowest points and you genuinely care about each other. Everyone ends up caring about each other because we've all seen each other at those low points and we want to see each other thrive. Like, that's just how it is. Once we leave, everyone's on their own journey, but you get to basically still meet up and rekindle that friendship.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't matter how long it takes to rekindle that friendship. So with me and Maddie, we basically rekindled it. There was no rekindling. We never stopped being friends. We were always, no matter where we are, still talking. But if it comes to the point where you need to have a break or have time to think about if you think the friendship's right for you, that is okay. You don't have to rush into it, because that is the whole thing about recovery, is you take it one step at a time and you don't rush it, because that's one of the big things that can make you fall back.
I was also going to say, we were going to speak about when we do leave hospital, the change of environment, you feel really out of place, because remember, like, you've been in hospital for however long you've been in hospital, you got used to the environment. You're in a place where you see a lot of the same people. You're quite literally secluded in one space. You're not going around everywhere. And you feel very, like, what's the word? Like, cut off from the world or the connections to the world. So even the fact that you may have one-to-ones or like basically one-to-one people who are spending all day with you, imagine when you leave hospital and you don't have that one-to-one, you're going to feel like it's going to feel odd.
Yeah.
Because you're going to feel like, okay, I used to have someone literally right next to me all the time.
Yeah.
But now I just have no one next to me all the time. I just have me. And as much as that can be a good thing, it can also be a bad thing, because you may not feel safe, like, within yourself.
Yeah.
Like, because you've got too used to, like, being with staff all the time. You may not feel like, oh, I can actually do this by myself.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. You have to, like, actually believe in yourself, that when you have to feel confident in yourself. Like, when you're getting discharged, you have reached a point where you don't need the extra support that you needed in hospital. And you're basically being trusted to go on and, do things yourself and be able to actually live life. I don't want to say normally, but live life as we expect to live life.
What we see as normal.
What we see as normal. Because basically, obviously, at the end of the day, how I see it, even from leaving hospital, the things that I do now is not similar at all to what I used to do in hospital.
Even going to the toilet on your own.
Even going to the toilet on your own, like, that's just insane to me. Like, right now, I used to, like, back then, I used to be so desensitized. It was so normal to me that someone would literally come into the toilet with me. But now it's like, would I be okay with
You don't expect it.
That's not normal. So basically, you just really have to find a comfort within yourself and just feel safe within yourself, that you know that in the end of the day, you won't have all of these other people around you 24/7, but you'll always have yourself there with you.
One thing about discharge as well is you get given a discharge plan, which is then given to not only you, but your carers. Yeah. Your carers and also the community, like, team that will be involved with you. And one thing that I can't stress about is that even though you're given that and that is your named plan, it doesn't always go to plan. So personally with me, you get given a lot of therapy. I was offered DBT, which I was open to trying, but once I tried it, it wasn't for me. It didn't work for me. And at the time, it was the end of the world. And I thought I wasn't going to get any support. Like, the one thing that I was offered I couldn't even do was kind of my thoughts. But you can decline certain therapies because there's so many out there now that you can try, and you will eventually find yours. And it's literally not the end of the world. If I could go and tell myself that right now, I literally would.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think essentially what Evie's trying to say is that basically, when things don't go to plan, it genuinely isn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
But it's like, basically, don't be too surprised, because in the end of the day, that is a feeling you're going to feel in that moment. But just understand that literally so many young people have experienced the same feeling of, even I was going to say, when you leave hospital, it genuinely does feel really, really lonely. Like you feel like no one else understands you. Because obviously whilst you're in the community, you're not in the hospital anymore. You haven't got people around you who actually understand you all the time. And you feel like it's harder to explain yourself to people when they haven't got the same experiences as you. Like, but just understand that there's so many people out there who have gone through the same thing and understood the same feeling. And those people that you get given connected to, like after your discharge, those lists of people that you get told to like contact if you need help and things like that, always keep in contact with them, because those are the people you'll feel comfortable with speaking to about how you're feeling about after discharge and things like that. Because then you won't feel as lonely as you normally do. Because it genuinely feels like you're going from a small room into the whole world.
Yeah.
It genuinely feels like that. And then you're around people who don't understand your experience. Like not everyone understands the experience of inpatient. Not everyone understands how difficult it was for you as a young person. Like that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Within the first week or so when you are discharged, it's all about setting yourself some boundaries as well. Personally, I set myself boundaries, especially with social media. I limited myself because a lot of the time social media can be more harm than good, and it got to the point where it was almost harming my mental health more than it was doing it good. And because there's such an expectation that if you claim to be mentally unwell or have a mental illness, that you have to act in a certain way, you have to do you have to have certain characteristics, you have to do certain things to show that you're unwell. But I find that obviously when I was struggling, that's the type of stuff that I would watch or relate to. But when I was discharged, that really didn't help me and actually stopped me from recovering in a way.
I was also gonna say, obviously that's really important to set boundaries, but just give yourself a lot of time when you first get discharged. Like give yourself time to just give your mind space to relax, to calm down, like get adjusted to the new environment, get adjusted to not being in hospital, get adjusted to that. And also even to do with like social media, I think what she's trying to say is just like, not everything is nice on there. And you might see things that that might trigger you or things like that. This is why even in hospital, like there's restrictions to certain use of social media. There's restrictions to certain use of internet access and all of these things. And even what you can watch or you can do video recording, all that stuff, right? There's restrictions. But even the fact, that's another thing. Like in the hospital that we were in, we were allowed our mobiles like for a certain amount of time. But imagine like even when we were there, we'd end up doing a lot of activities and stuff. So pretty much the only amount of screen time we would get is like maybe 3 hours in a day, or like less than that. And that would probably just be communication wise. And then basically, obviously, once you're out of hospital, you have just all day to yourself with your phone. Like basically you might start overusing it. It could become really unhealthy. You could end up just sitting in bed all day and just not doing anything. Whereas that's why in hospital they try to build you up to get to a point where you feel like you can get out of bed and you can go and do some activities and spend time with people, because they're getting you ready for you to have to do that on your own in the outside world. Like literally that's how it is. So even, especially another thing, because I realized with me, soon as I left hospital, I was on my phone all day, all night. I was up all night because no one's taking my phone away from me. It's really just me and my phone, like no one else. And you may even feel like you have nothing else to do with your time. So that's another thing. Genuinely think about what you're going to plan to do to occupy your time. Not having to be on your phone all the time, because it's so unhealthy. And everyone knows like that, falling into that route of just bed rotting, just being on your phone all night, it's so unhealthy for you. And you may start to feel like just depressed. It gives you like a very depressing feeling. You don't feel like you're being productive. You feel like you're just going backwards rather than forwards. And that's the last thing you want when you're being discharged.
We really want you guys to take something away from this podcast. So we thought we'd come up with some top tips for you guys. So my top tip is all about that feeling out of place. Like you may feel out of place, but you can put yourself back into the community. It doesn't have to be fast. You don't need to rush into it. You can take your time, but the world does deserve to see you again, and you deserve to see the world.
That's quite cute. My top tip would be kind of like give yourself a list of things you want to get done, because at the end of the day, we all have like aspirations or things that we want to accomplish. And at the end of the day, like when you're in a hospital, you can't accomplish a lot of those things because you're stuck inside four walls. But like Evie was just saying to me, she was saying like, what would you tell me if I was literally sitting down and I was like crying about leaving hospital or being discharged, I would literally just say like genuinely look forward to it, because you now get to do so many other things that you couldn't do whilst you were in
Yeah.
hospital. And even then, it creates a positive like next step. Like if you give yourself things that you want to go and accomplish, and you go and accomplish those things, you'll feel much better about yourself. You'll feel productive. You'll feel like you're actually making a difference.
Yeah.
You'll feel like you're doing something with your life, and that's so important. And even just also, I was gonna say, to do with like friendships and things, get in contact with the people that you feel like you should when it's the right time.
Yeah.
Like give yourself that time first, and when you think it's healthy and when you think it's right to go back into,
when they're ready as well.
yeah, and when they're ready as well, like have a conversation with those of like those peers that you have that you want to rekindle friendships with, and you have to understand each other. In the end of the day, like you guys have both been in such tough positions. You have to understand that there will be boundaries in place, and both of you may not be ready at the time to basically
Yeah.
rekindle the friendship. But if it works out, it works out.
Yeah.
Hopefully
If it
it's for the best.
doesn't, it doesn't.
If it doesn't, it doesn't. It really just means that
And that's
you get to
okay.
go on in life genuinely. Once you're out of hospital, you are not stuck in some bubble where you can't meet anyone. You will meet so many different people.
Yeah.
Once you put yourself out there, because like what I said, even about accomplishing things, like give yourself things to accomplish where you can go into the community, where you can go and do certain things. Even if it's like, what, you want to do horse riding, go and do horse riding. You can go meet so many people that way, and you'll
Yeah.
make so many friends across the way of life. Like people will just come into your life anyways. So don't be too worried about, oh, I'm going to be by myself, I'm not going to spend any time with anyone. Like, then never think of that, because there's so many opportunities everywhere.
Yeah. And one thing that me and Maddie did that I remember as well is when we were in hospital coming up to our discharge, it was almost like we were creating like bucket lists for coming out. So we had things to look forward to. And it wasn't just, oh, you're being discharged. It was more like, oh, we can actually go and do these things, especially because we kind of knew that our friendship was going to stay. So we are kind of making these lists together and thinking of all the things that we could do together once we're out.
And also, if you feel as though you don't have a very close friend like that to basically make plans with like that,
Yeah.
I would say you have to remember, at the end of the day, you are your own best friend.
Yeah.
And
100%.
you have to be really easy on yourself, because
Yeah.
you know yourself the best. You know the things that you have gone through. You know the hardships that you have faced.
Yeah.
So you know when you're able to do something, when you're not able to do something. Like, just really genuinely be easy on yourself and look
Yeah.
after yourself, because you're the only person that's going to really understand what you need.
Yeah.
What you need. That's genuinely it.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed it, you can listen to more episodes in the series from our EBE team.
Please remember, you are valid and you are not alone at all. And remember,
Keep stepping forward.